Text wrap is your way to ensure that images do not cover up text on the page. We're going to start with this 2-column layout, and I'll choose File Place. Text wrap can wrap around all sorts of images. This car Photoshop file actually has erased transparency, so a clear background. So text wrap will let me wrap around the silhouette of the car. When I hit Open and click once to place this at 100%, I've got a large version of the car placed. I'm going to move this over a bit, and as the center crosses over the center of the page, I'll see a pink line. If I want to scale this down, I could switch to my Scale tool. The letter S on your keyboard will get you there. And I always hold down Shift. If you don't hold down Shift, you'll distort or anamorphically scale the object. So I'll undo that and make sure that my Shift key is held down the entire time I scale this down. The image doesn't exactly have to match mine. I'll go back to my Selection tool, and I have to be careful. If I go to move the car and I accidentally hit the content grabber, it actually moved the visible area of the car inside this blue frame. It's a little bit dangerous on the content grabber. A habit you want to build is if I undo that, the content grabber was added so that people could crop images and move them easily without changing tools. But when you know you want to move an entire image and not the image inside the frame, if you click the object and see blue points, grab inside the blue points, but don't aim for the target or the dead center. If I'm anywhere inside the blue points, now when I drag, I can align this to the middle again, looking for that pink guide, and my car is centered on the page. I'll zoom in with Command plus or Control plus, and I love that InDesign is smart enough to know to zoom to the selected object. It doesn't just zoom to the middle of the window. I'll click the Text Wrap panel on the right, and Text Wrap will be available if you are on the typography workspace. In Text Wrap, you have 5 wrap options. No text wrap is the default. Be sure that you have the object selected. The text wrap goes to the image itself. You do not need to select the text actually on the page. That way, if I move this car to another page or any other spot on this page, the text wrap will stay with the image. So if you see blue points, you have the image selected, and I can safely hit the second wrap button, Wrap Around Bounding Box, which wraps around the rectangular shape of the image or Photoshop file. But I know that this car has a transparent or clear background, so I will click the middle wrap button, Wrap Around Object Shape or Silhouette. And when I do that, instead of choosing Same as Clipping, which is really the edge of the box, I can click on Same as Clipping in Type at the bottom and allow InDesign to detect the edges of this car. And now I've got a beautiful wrap around the car itself. To see the last 2 styles, I have Jump Object, which doesn't allow any text on the left or right side. It's great for charts and graphs. Or if I fit the page in Window under my View menu and hit the last wrap style, Jump to Next Column. These are 2 columns, so it's jumping to the next column for both sides, which means end the page with this image. So all the text is forced to the next page. This is excellent if you do not want any text below or on the left or right side. But I'm going to click back on the middle wrap option, Wrap Around Object Shape. And I'll zoom back in with Command plus on the Mac or Control plus on Windows. And some of this wrap is not pleasing. In fact, I can tighten the wrap and move even a little bit into the shape. Since this lighter blue line is only used for text wrap and not for cropping of the image, it can go a little bit inside the car and it won't clip it. And if I use my Direct Selection tool, There are spots that are reading poorly, like here from men's motives and actions. With the direct selection tool or white arrow, I can completely pull these points up to make sure that that white space is removed. So you really have to get all the points away that might be pushing text. I'll do the same over here on the wheel of the car, or maybe I just want to make sure that the word with isn't allowed at all, and your words will be different because the scale of your car will be different. But I'm going to pull this point all the way over so no text is allowed here so that it reads better. And then I'll pull this small point up so that this paragraph breaks properly. I'll click away, hit Control-0 or Command-0 to zero it out, and choose View, Preview to get a print preview and see if I like where I've gone. It might be a little too tight at the top of the car, so I could again use my direct selection tool, hit Command plus or Control plus to zoom in, and move these points away just a little bit to push the text just slightly further away from the edge of the car itself. So take some time and experiment with this feature. Remember to fit the page in the window and click away to see if you visually like what you've done. I think I'm pretty happy with this, so I'll go ahead and save. I'll go back to normal view and I'll save my finished document. Now, one last note. You want to be very careful if nothing is selected to not choose a text wrap, because if I choose text wrap with nothing selected and I draw a new text box, that will actually get text wrap, or every new object you build will get text wrap. So I'm going to go to my selection tool and delete this box and make sure that when I click outside the page in the pasteboard on nothing, that text wrap is set to none. This is handy if you have 10 images to place and you want them to wrap automatically, but I found in my hands-on classes, this gets more often set accidentally because they didn't click on an image first before setting text wrap. So I'll click away, and I'd like you to place a few different images on the pages in this document and try out your text wrap.